Hello guys, welcome back to another guide here, an EDH guide, I should say. This is going to be over Old Gnawbone from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, a mono green legendary creature. And let's get started. So 7 mana, legendary creature dragon, Old Gnawbone, 7/7 flying. Whenever creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So simple. We're gonna have big green creatures just doing big green things, ramping, playing even bigger creatures, and making our way through with trample. Next, okay, so first up, we have like the really big creatures. Obviously, Throssa, Tempest 4, 10 generic, double green, legendary creature, dinosaur, 7/7. It costs 3 generic less to cast for each other spell you cast its turn. Trample haste, trample over planeswalkers. This creature can deal excess damage to the controller of the planeswalker that's attacking. So if this attacks the planeswalker, it goes unblocked. If planeswalker is at 1 loyalty, this is going to deal not 7 damage to that planeswalker, but the 1 needed, and then 6 of that damage is going to go to the controller of that planeswalker. Tangle, Leash of the Tangle, 6 generic, double green, creature elemental, trample 8/8. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may choose any number of target lands you control and put an awakening counter of each of them. Each of those lands is an 8/8 green elemental creature. For as long as it has an awakening counter on it, they're still lands. So 8 trample, along with making other 8/8s to just further fuel the plan. Impervious Great Worm, 7 generic, triple green. Creature Worm, Convoke, 16, indestructible. Your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 generic or 1 mana of anyone of that creature's color. Coastal Lake, Butcher of Truth, 10 generic, legendary creature Eldrazi. When you cast a spell, draw 4 cards, and highlight 4. When this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 4 permanents. So I'm allowing us to get for even more and cripple our opponents. To itself, if it is put into graveyard from anywhere, so that's discard, mill, sacrifice, then it is shuffled. Then our graveyard entirely shuffled into our library. Protean Hydra, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 green mana. 8/8 costs green mana less to cast for each green creature you control. So we're gonna have a lot of those out. Trample, so pretty nice. World Spine Worm, 8 generic, triple green creature worm, 15/15 trample. When it dies, you put 3 5/5 green worm creature tokens with trample onto the battlefield, and when it is put into a graveyard from anywhere, so mill, discard, sacrifice, death, whatever, shuffle it into its owner's library. So it's gonna be coming back, being able to cast pretty easy thanks to Old Gnawbone, and it's 15/15. That makes 3 5/5s, so pretty good. Also, I believe, yep, trample. Primal Crooks, 6 green creature elemental, trample, star power, star toughness, chroma. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of green mana symbols in the mana cost of permanent you control. So since we're running mono green, this makes a lot of sense. This will be in high power because most of our stuff is double green or like triple green even to cast, or even more sometimes. So that'll be nice and huge. And trample. Primordial Hydra, X generic, double green creature Hydra, 0/0, and it's battlefield with X plus counters on it. At the game, if your upkeep doubled the number of plus counters on Primordial Hydra, so it will get bigger and bigger. And if it has 10 or more plus counters on it, it's trample as well. So it's getting bigger and bigger, getting trample eventually. And we'll probably be casting this later due to Old Gnawbone making us a lot of treasure tokens so that we can cast it for like a huge amount and just swing in eventually and just kill our opponents out of nowhere. Genesis Hydra, X generic, double green, creature plant Hydra, 0/0. When it is cast, we reveal the top X cards of our library, and then it says you may put a non-permanent card with converted mana cost extra less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest into your library, and then with there's battlefield with X postal counters on it. Just as Hydra does, not the creature that or permanent that you put onto the battlefield. So along with this, huge creature we're also getting a probably rather decent blocker. I mean, a creature. Next we have another Hydra, Protean Hydra, X and green. Creature Hydra 0/0 as well with X plus counters on it. The damage would be dealt to Protean Hydra. Prevent that damage and remove that many plus counters from it. So prevents Death Touch from working on it and other combat damage effects that creatures may have. Whenever a plus counter is removed from Protean Hydra, put 2 plus counters on it, gaining the next episodes. So if it survives, it's gonna gain twice that many counters back. So loses 2, gets 4 back at the beginning of the next end step. Hero's Bane, another Hydra, 3 generic, double green, creature Hydra, extra with 4 plus counters on it. 2 generic, double green, put X plus counters on Hero's Bane, where its power. So as we're dealing combat damage, making more and more treasure tokens, we'll be able to spend those on Hero's Bane, making it bigger and bigger. Allowing us to hit even harder and eventually just outright kill our opponents. Pellet Collector, nice turn 1 green. Creature Elf Warrior 1/1. When another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pellet Collector's, put a +1 plus counter on Pellet Collector. As long as it has 3 more plus counters on it, it's trample. So since we're running mono green and we have like big stomach creatures, this is going to be getting bumped up to a decent size and probably getting trample. Galta, Primal Hunger, 10 generic, double green, legendary creature, older dinosaur, 12/12. It costs X generic less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. So it's going to be a good amount. That's going to cost less because of the sheer power of our creatures. Trample, 12/12, like I said, pretty nice. Gigantosaurus, Quintuple, green, 5 green. Creature dinosaur, 10/10, pretty nice. So like half the mana you normally, like 5 mana you get double the power and toughness. Voracious Hydra, X generic, double green, creature Hydra trample, 0/1, enters battlefield with X plus counters on it. Enters battlefield, choose 1, double the number of plus counters on it. So it can make itself big, or it can fight target creature you don't control, so it can be a removal spell as well. Blowing Flex, Voice of Hunger, 6 generic, double green, legendary creature, Praetor, trample, 7/6. Whenever you have land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. Not necessarily needed, but pretty nice if we happen to be in a pinch where we are low on lands for some reason, or just like cannot produce mana. But whenever an opponent taps the land for mana, that land does not tap during its control's next untap step. That's what we really have this in here for, just to shut down our opponent's plans mostly and just cripple them, get in, swing before they can deploy blockers. Lifeblood Hydra, X and triple green, creature Hydra, 0/0, trample. Lifeblood Hydra enters battlefield with X counters on it, and when it dies, we gain life and draw cards equal to its power. Pretty simple. It's been a lot on it, considering we're going to be making a lot of treasure tokens. X generic and a green for Hungering Hydra, creature Hydra 0/0, and it's about to, of course, with X counters on it, and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, meaning 1 creature and 1 creature only can block this. And whenever it's dealt damage, you put that many plus counters on it. So, and it must survive the damage to get the counters first. So it doesn't prevent death touch like Protean Hydra does. So keep that in mind. Omnath, Locus of Mana. 2 generic and green, legendary creature elemental. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps in phase's end. 1/1. It gets +1/+1 for each unspent green mana you have. So since we're doing like mono green, and if we have a bunch of treasures lying around, what we can do simply is just sacrifice all those treasures to create green mana, and then on that we'll store it and become super big. So no treasures are going to waste. Forgotten Ancient, 3 generic and a green, creature elemental 0/3. Whenever a player casts a spell, so it's on any side of the battlefield, you, your opponents, whatever, you may put plus counter on Forgotten Ancient at the beginning of your upkeep. You may move any number of plus counters from Forgotten Ancient onto other creatures. So it could be like a big trampler or something, whatever have you. Giant Ediphage, 5 generic, double green, creature insect, 7/7, trample. When it deals common damage to a player, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of it. So you've got like a big creature with trample, 7/7, that can create copies of itself and get out of hand really quick. So make a lot of tokens that are copies of this, make a lot of treasures. Thanks to old Gnawbone, pretty nice. Apex Devastator. 8 generic, double green, Chimera Hydra, 10/10, Cascade, 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 Cascade. So Cascade 4 times. Whenever you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exiled cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Multiple instances of Cascade, each trigger separately. So if we're to cast this, and so then we could get 4. We could cast up to 4 spells using this that cost 9 or less. 9 or less CMC. That's pretty insane. So long as this, we can get pretty big creatures free. Also 10/10, so it's pretty nice. Reverent Hunter, 2 generic and green, creature human archer, 1/1. Enters battlefield, put number of possible cards on it equal to your devotion green. Each green in the mana cost of turns you control counts towards your devotion to green. So this right here counts to 1 devotion to green. These 2 right here, that makes 2, so on and so forth. Get it? So since we're running mono green, this makes a lot of sense to run this. Helps us make a big creature out there for pretty cheap. Steelbane Hydra, X and double green. Creature Turtle Hydra, 0/0, and it's both with X plus cards on it. 2 generic and a green. Remove a plus card from it, and then you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. So nice enchantment removal, nice artifact removal. Nice big creature, so probably going to be using its ability to remove a lot of artifacts due to the number of plus cards on it. So pretty nice all in all. Student of cheating, now we move into like combat trickery sort of. So 7 generic and a green. Creature Centaur Warrior, trample indestructible, 8/8. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. So allows us to get through, and death touch can't affect our stuff. So pretty nice all in all. Probably just kill our opponents. Questing Beast, 2 generic, double green, legendary creature beast, vigilance, death touch, haste, or 4, can be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures control can be prevented. So there are so many things I would say like prevent damage or anything cannot now. So our opponents cannot use like a root snare or something to save themselves, like what was that? Something that said haze. It blocked it, like prevented all damage. Anyways, so your opponents are pretty screwed. Whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. Nice. Rumble Might, X and green. Sorcery target you control gets +X, until end of turn. Then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So nice removal spell, essentially. Buffs up a creature, so we can probably get through for lethal. Keeper of Fables, 3 generic and double green cat. No, not quite yet. I'm getting to card draw. This is more of a payoff card, but whatever. It was whenever one or more non-human creature control deal combat damage to the player, draw a card 4/5. Not bad. Unnatural growth, pretty good. 1 generic and quadruple green enchantment at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. So now our creatures are just omega big and omega strong, making us a lot of treasures, and probably just outright killing our opponents if anything else. Elder Gargaroth, 3 generic and double green. Creature beast 6/6 vigilance, reach, trample. Whenever it attacks or blocks, create 3. You can choose one. Create 3/3 green beast creature token. You gain 3 life, or you can draw a card. So nice utility. Allows like trickery. Allows us to draw cards. Allows us to make blockers if we were to need it. Allows us to stay in the game thanks to life gain, and you can block and attack at the same time. It's vigilance and reach and trample. So all in all, a nice card. Aggressive Mammoth, 3 generic, triple green, creature elephant, trample, 8/8. Other creature control have trample, so nice. Harvest Season, 2 generic, 2 generic and 1 green. Sorry. Sorcery. Search your library for X basic land cards where X the tap number of tapped creature control. Put those cards on the battlefield tap and through the library, so allows to ramp via lands if we were to get board wiped. God Eternal Ronas, 3 generic, double green, legendary creature, zombie god, death touch 5/5. There's the battlefield. Double the power of each creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn, so pretty nice. And when it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top, so it always comes back if it dies or is sent into exile. So pretty nice. Protean Hydra, 3 generic, double green, 0/0 trample, enters power 4 plus counters on it. Whenever it attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So now I believe we're getting into like buffing. We've been in buffing out. Yeah. But now this is more heavily focused on buffing out. Whoops. Whenever it attacks, double the number of plus counters on each creature you control. So pretty nice. Probably allows us to end the game due to the number of plus counters on creature control, because the majority of them are Hydras. Critter Hoof Behemoth, 5 generic, triple green, sorry. Creature Beast Haste, 5/5, enters battlefield, creature control, can trample and get +X until in turn where it's no controls. We're going to have a lot of them, so it's going to help out. Primeval Protector, 10 generic, and a green. Creature Avatar, 10/10, costs 1 less for cast for each creature your opponent's control. And it's battlefield. Put a plus counter on each other creature you control to buff up. Vigor, 3 generic, triple green, creature elemental and incarnation, 6/6 trample. If damage would be dealt to a creature you control other than vigor, prevent the damage, but plus counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. So nice damage prevention. Also, our creatures to stay alive, get bigger, avoid death touch, things like that. When vigor is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shovel it into its owner's library, so it always comes back to us eventually. Finale of Devastation, we can use to actually get it back. X and double green, sorcery, search library, and or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, use your control, get +X and gain haste until end of turn. So great way to just outright end the game. The Great Hens, 7 generic double green. This will cost X less to cast where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Legendary artifact taps to add double green, and you gain 2 life as you tap it. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a card on it and draw a card. So I think we're now getting into more of payoffs for playing creatures, playing the way we're playing, but not quite yet. This is more buffing still. Pretty good. Doubling season. 4 generic and a green enchantment. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead, so we're creating twice the amount of treasures we would with old Gnawbone. If an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice as many of those counters on that permanent instead. So pretty nice. Allows us double the number of counters we're putting on, plus counters we're putting on creatures, and double the number of treasures we're making thanks to Gnawbone. Primal Vigor. 4 generic and a green enchantment. If 1 or more tokens would be put onto the battlefield, so keep in mind this is on any side. Twice as many of those tokens are put onto the battlefield instead, but it's probably going to be benefiting us the most. If 1 or more plus counters would be placed on a creature, twice as many plus counters are placed on that creature instead. So I know this benefits all sides of the board, but still, even though it's a group hug, it may not matter due to the fact that we're going to be using it to create a lot of treasures and like double the number of plus counters put on our creatures. Then we have Parallel Lives. So now we're like really into like treasure payouts / creature payouts. Parallel Lives here, 3 generic and a green enchantments. If an effect would put 1 or more tokens on the battlefield under your control, and puts twice that many of those tokens on the battlefield instead. So pretty nice. Second Harvest, 2 generic and double green instant for each token you control. Put a token once the battlefield that's a copy of that permanent. So this doesn't include treasures. This can include 3 beasts produced by Elder Gargoth, World Spine Worm, things like that. Now we're getting to like true creature payoffs. So Eva, Nature's Herald, 2 generic double green, legendary creature, Elf Shaman, 4/4 flash. You may cast green creature spells as though they have flash, and Beast Whisperer to go along with it. 2 generic double green creature, Elf Druid. When you cast a creature spell, draw a card, 2/3. So pretty nice. Allows us to draw cards, keep fueling our strategy, keep on casting creatures. Soul to Harvest. 4 generic double green creature elemental, trample 6/6. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. So more card draw. Regal Force. 4 generic triple green creature elemental 5/5. Whenever it's battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. So a lot of card draw there. And that. So Sylvala, Heart of Wilds. 1 generic double green legendary creature Elf Scout 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. And for green, you can tap it, add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures control. So this will add a nice amount of mana. And then finally, our final non-basic land card here, non-land card, is Life Catcher's Bestiary. 3 generic artifact at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. When you cast a creature spell, you may pay green. If you do, draw a card. Next, we have Mossworth Bridge. So we're beginning our lands. Land Hideaway. This land enters the battlefield tap. When it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library. And then you can tap to add a green to your mana pool. Then green, tap. You may play the exile card without paying its mana cost to creature control at total power turn or grave, which we will, knowing us. Or Reef of Vastwood. Enter battlefield tapped, tap to add a green, or tap purple counter on each green creature that enters the battlefield this turn. So mind you, this is on all sides. So, but still, mostly going to be benefiting your creatures. And we're going to be casting a lot of them in this deck. So a good amount of them are going to be getting a lot of plus counters. Castle Garen Brig. This is really needed it, but here it is in case we did. Enters battlefield tapped unless you control a forest. Tap to add a green or 2 generic double green. Tap at 6 green mana. Spend this mana. Only the cast creature spells are activated abilities. Creatures, so pretty nice. Blighted Woodland, in case you needed it. Once again, land, tap. You can add colors to your mana pool, or 3 generic and a green. Sacrifice it, and also tap it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped, and then show your library. Very nice. And then card draw here. Arch of Varaska, Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game, which we will, thanks to the treasures being made by Old Gnawbone. Tap to add colors here and pull 5 generic. You can tap it, draw a card to activate this ability only if you control this, only if you have the city's blessing, excuse me. Myriad Landscape and it's battlefield tapped. Tap to add a colors or 2 generic, tap, sacrifice it. Search the library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them on the battlefield tab, then show your library. Obviously, you're going to be searching for forest because that's the only thing you can search for. Guy's Cradle taps to add a green mana to your mana pool for each creature you control. Legendary land, so we're going to be controlling a lot of creatures probably because of how many we're casting, due to the fact that we have a lot of treasures because of the combat damage we're dealing to our opponents and Old Gnawbone triggering off. So that's going to be nice. Nexus, trying to next. Taps to add a colors mana. Oh, by the way, legendary. And this is also legendary land, in case you didn't know. So, and then 2 generic, tap it, choose color, add to your mana pool an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. So obviously we're going to be choosing green, so a lot of green devotion, dark depths, legendary snowland, Earth battlefield, or comes in play, I guess I should say, with 10 ice counters on it. For 3 generic, you can remove an ice counter from Dark Depth, and when it has no ice counters on it, you sacrifice it. If you do, put an indestructible legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying named Merit Legion to play, and we'll probably be able to activate that due to us having a lot of treasures thanks to Old Gnawbone. So pretty nice. Tranquil Thicket. Enters battlefield tap. Tap it to add green into mana pool. Or cycling for green. You can discard this card, draw a card. So more card draw. Same thing here, except you cycle it for 2 generic. Same thing here, except it's 1 generic and a green to cycle. Blasted Landscape, taps to add a colors, cycling for 2 generic. Seagate Wreckage, taps to add a colors to your mana pool, 2 generic and a color. So you have to use colorless in this case. So anything that doesn't produce colorless will not work. Draw a card, activate this ability only if you have no cards in hand, which we may, due to the fact that we're going to be casting a lot of cards, a lot of creature spells, I should say. Bonder's Enclave, tap to add a colors or 3 generic. You tap it, draw a card, activate this ability on control a creature with power 4 or greater, which we will. Definitely. Gargoyle Castle, tap to add 1 colors to a mana pool. 5 generic, we tap it, sacrifice it, put a 3/4 colorless gargoyle artifact creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So pretty nice. Mirror Pool. Enters battlefield taps, land, taps to add a colors, 2 generic and a colors. You can sacrifice it, copy the target insert sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy, or the one we're interested in, 4 generic and a colors. To tap it, sacrifice Mirror Pool. Put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of target creature you control. Then that's what we want. And then from there, 33 basic forests. Yeah, so that is it for this commander guide. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more, then please smash like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends and family and others. And I hope to see you next time. Peace out, y'all. Counterspell Hater out.